family. So I thought I'd drop in and share my experience of the energies that are really expanding right now and how they're really connected also to the gene keys. And the gene key that's transiting right now is the 48th gene key, which is the shadow of inadequacy to the gift of resourcefulness to the Siddhi of Wisdom. And it's this dilemma of not knowing. And as I was on my morning walk in nature, walking barefoot in nature, and as I walk, it's like I can feel my breath synchronize with nature. I can feel it synchronize with the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And when I'm walking barefoot and I'm connected to that pulse, it's like there is this internal knowing, this wisdom that comes forth that is not mine per se, but it's like an opening up of a field of awareness that was not previously available. And it's a sense of almost like this washing in of this pure source of wisdom, that then something is known that wasn't known previously. And when that sense of knowing comes through, it's different than when we learn something in school. We've been taught something, or we've been taught something by another, right? Which is this this knowledge versus wisdom. When wisdom kind of floods in its awareness, it's like there is a vibration of truth there that like infiltrates your cells. And it's like this knowing beyond mind. And it's this sensorial experience of what wisdom is that is so connected to your intuition that, we talked about the dilemma, not knowing. It wasn't known, and now something has come to light, and there's just a knowing that that is divine truth. And so as that comes in, like, that's kind of what I want to share, because I feel like everyone at some point has had this kind of experience of receiving something that is just known, even though you have no way of knowing how you know that, because it wasn't taught to you, right? And so often when we look at the shadow of inadequacy and how it affects every single human being, and no matter how much we've been taught over our life, and how much knowledge we have attained, how many diplomas, how many letters after our name, how much financial abundance, even how much power, there can still be, and there most often is, this deep sense of inadequacy. This deep sense of still not being quite enough. This deep sense of still being separate and not being seen. This desire, this impulse to outsource in order to feel like you're enough, right? So the shadow of inadequacy, it's part of the codon ring of matter. So when I look at that, it's like how we have been conditioned and how we have become so solidified with our consciousness into a body and into a society and a culture where we feel inadequate. We don't feel enough because we have lost our connection to our true source. So we're always continually seeking some sort of validation out there, right? Whether it be a lover or a job or financial abundance, or just simply recognition and validation for who we are, wanting others to see us, but we can't see ourselves. We can't see the truth of who and what we are. So we continue to perpetuate this biofeedback loop of inadequacy, which is then reflected to us by the outer experience of the world. And so this particular key in its shadow state, you can think of and contemplate maybe some kind of emotional initiation that you went through between the ages of like 8 to 14, which is when your IQ in the gene keys in that sphere was actually imprinted into your template. And maybe look back at that time in your life and see what you went through. See where you went through this place of this innocent, open, seeing life as an adventure, seeing life as vast, seeing your limitless and your potential, into kind of shrinking down through what happened into that state of having to minimize yourself, having to make yourself smaller, or feeling like you had to make yourself smaller. And how that then continued to play out as a theme within your life experience. You know, this key, this shadow invites us into our depth. It invites us to really begin to swim in the deep oceans of self and face off with these cords of belief and identification with who we are, and that we are never enough, that we can never be enough in order to feel accepted. You know, there's this core wound of like rejection, of not being seen, of feeling alone, of never quite allowing the fullness of ourselves to be recognized, because we have not recognized the fullness of ourselves. And so this key is a beautiful guide to lead us on a journey of traveling into the depth of our belief system and actually beginning to see the gifts that we hold and claiming them. You know, so often we can get little hits of that wisdom, of the sheer magnitude of who we are as a spirit and the gifts that we hold. And the moment that frequency dissipates, the mind immediately goes back down into this place of smallness and contraction and not enoughness. For me, this key is like the facing off with the ego self that constantly wants to tell me that I'm not good enough. And yet the wisdom self that tells me that I am everything and anything in boundless, infinite measure, and that everything that I can fathom is a possibility for me to create, you know? And so with inadequacy, it's like, can you just notice wherever you minimize yourself, wherever you make yourself small, wherever you don't quite recognize the magnificence of the light that you hold, and begin to just shine a light there. You know, this very feminine gift is really about, I believe the I Ching hexagram is, they call it the well. This, you look down into the well, into infinite darkness, and you have no idea how deep it is. And it's like, can you dive into that well of darkness and actually go to the depths to find out who and what you are? Can you face the fear of the unknown? Can you face into the mystery of it all? Can you let every preconceived notion of who you have believed yourself to be to begin to release attachment to it, to completely let go and surrender yourself into that infinite place. And in that, allow all of the shadow to really be seen. And to notice the ways in which this society has really trained you to be limited, to be small, to not know your worth, to not know your wealth. And when you begin to see that, when there is a recognition from the higher aspect of self, when you begin to see how these patterns have limited you, you begin to open up to this resourcefulness. It's like all of the resources that have always been right there, like right just beyond your grasp, will they come fully pouring in. And what happens is it's like you open up to begin to see the infinite creator that you actually are. That every dream, vision, impression that you've had, everything that you have looked up to, whether it's a hero in a movie or a teacher, that what you have seen within them is because it is within you, and that you have the resources to be that. Everything in this life is asking us to hone in on, it's like these microcosmic moments of epiphany where you are seeing something, perhaps in another, that it hits you to your core and it begins to open and unlock something that then the mind or the ego will project as, ooh, I want that. And yet the recognition in the resourcefulness is like, I know I am that because I'm seeing it, I'm sensing it, I'm feeling it. Can I let go of my not knowing and just let it in? Because it is being shown to me, it has been being shone upon me to show me that which I have the opportunity now to step into and embody, even if I don't know what it looks like. There's a moment of recognition, of coming into that resourcing of yourself. You are sourcing yourself through your connection to your source. This resourcefulness is the resourcing of self. It begins to collapse, in my experience, it begins to collapse the belief in limitation. It begins to literally dissolve those walls, because it's like you open up to the ocean of you, the vastness of you. You begin to sense, see, and embody the ocean of existence that you are. And there comes a point at which there's a deep soul recognition of the I am. I am all of this. And as that comes flooding in, because it often feels like this flooding in of an energy, a frequency that is just so vast and so wide that your mind is not going to be able to grasp it and make it into a concept. And it's that moment where it's like you're stepping into the abyss, right? It's like you're stepping into the unknown and the great mystery, and you're dropping, you're relinquishing the mind wanting to grasp, hold it, make it a concept, and then put it into this solid, this is truth. But rather, it's like it's all flooding in. And it's like this vast ocean of grace, where in this massive, infinite ocean, we get to pull in little pearls, little golden threads of wisdom. And as we pull in those golden threads, it's like something opens us in a way that there is no mind there. There is nothing trying to hold it and grasp it, but rather you're giving it this infinite spaciousness. It's like allowing that connection, that reunification with that divine part of yourself. It's this merging back with your own divinity that then allows you to swim in the ocean without having to grasp onto the knowing. And then as you step into this wisdom, the sheer exquisiteness of the beauty is that the pearls of wisdom come through you in any given moment that they're needed in order to be spoken, in order to be energetically vibrated out to another, in order to just send it out to the consciousness of the collective field. But when the wisdom comes through, which is really, it's been a beautiful practice for me. It's like, can I just give out that ocean of wisdom through my field and then let it go like a wave crashing upon the shore, and it's gone. And this deep knowing that it has done its job and that I don't need to grasp onto, hold onto, or attach onto anything that I want to think is known, that I have given, that I have been the holder of this knowledge, but rather allowing the wisdom of the divine to share its emanation in the moment and then release it. Because what I have found as in my own embodiment through this process is that the wisdom comes, and it comes as this extraordinary wave. And then when it goes, I need to let it go. Because whatever that was that came through in that moment, it is the perfect moment for that Siddhi to come through. But there is nothing and no one that can grasp it. Because if I was to fill my container with that knowing, that knowledge, then what happens is I become so full with that knowledge that there's no more space, that I have filled up my container, and that now there is no space for anything new to come through. I have held onto it, grasped onto it. I'm so full that I can't hold anymore. So I have to actually let go and empty. I have to be empty in order to be filled. And then I have to be empty in order to be filled. And so if we can hold all of these epiphanies, these transmissions, the beauty of the divine that's moving through with every given moment, what happens is we let go and we allow life to move through us, divine to move through us. We allow our vessels to be the incoming wave, that we are the tsunami of wisdom. But just as it comes in, then it recedes back out for the next wave to come. to like literally let go and swim in the abyss of wisdom, that when something needs to come through, it will be the exact precise moment, that we don't need to grasp or hang on or fill up with knowledge. And in addition, I sometimes burp when energy is moving. It's one of the ways that I can move energy. So if you see that happening, that's what's actually going on. I'm moving energy through my body as the transmission comes through in the way that it wants to. It sometimes moves energy in me that needs to be moved, that I am unaware of. But there is a great letting go of our intellect in this process. We're not trying to control anything, not trying to force anything. It's like really trusting the flow. And there's massive wisdom in that, right? Can you let go of all your hard-earned knowledge so that you can actually empty to receive the wisdom of the divine? This is such a feminine key. This really is the key of the divine feminine. It is the most yin, right? So it's the most receptive. It's the most watery. It's the one that goes to the depth. It goes into the darkness, not knowing, but it lets go into the mystery of it all. This divine feminine initiation. This is the key we're in right now. Can you feel it? The initiation of the divine feminine is not about men or women. Though women have a stargate portal known as the womb that can bring spirit into form, right? So innately, by our very bodies being a stargate for souls, we have a deep connection to this. We have a connection to the water of our womb blood. It is pure, it is pure potential, because the womb blood is like, it's stem cells. It is potential. These cells can turn into anything. They can become any creation. They are like, it's like almost like a start codon. They are biological materialization of pure potential. And so women, I'll just go into this because this is what's coming through. It's like your womb blood, that portal of allowing spirit to come into form, is not only just to bring babies through, to bring spirits through, but it's also to bring the spirit of that which you wish to create through. We go into this meaning of immaculate conception. When you're free of the constructs and the limitation of the mind, you can actually pull in these beautiful boundless creations, and through this light conception, implant them into the womb space, and the stem cells, which are intelligent, and the DNA within them, which is pure potential, you can begin to create and impregnate yourself with this creation. And if this is happening, if you're sensing into this already, I know a lot of women are having this feeling of like, wow, I feel like I'm pregnant. Like something is growing within me that I can't quite articulate. Yeah. It's the wisdom of creation and the power that we have to create through these vessels, through these temples, through these motherships. There's even more to that came through today. It's like we are learning how to take command of this mothership, and we're learning through the immensity of the divine technology that these bodies are, how to steer the ship. We have been really, we've had amnesia as to the vastness of what these bodies are actually capable of, and the immensity of the impact that one being awakened to the power of the command of their mothership can bring forth and birth entirely new worlds and realities through them. So this is a lot to bring through right now. And it likely won't make sense to your intellect, right? But we're working with this 48th gene key right now, which is resourcefulness and wisdom. We are resourcing ourselves. We are coming back to our source. How incredible is that? We are coming back to our source. And when we are connected to our source, when we are resourcing ourselves, we know that we have the potential in order to inseminate the seed of source within us and birth forth the divine wisdom that is infinite creation consciousness. And we're connected to that. We're connected to that. This wisdom is ineffable. I'm putting words to something that is so vast. It's beyond the comprehension of the mind, right? The wisdom is actually in the letting go of having to know, the not knowing, but moving in the direction of complete annihilation of the separate self. What every being is actually creating, is actually not creating, but actually moving towards is the forgetfulness into the remembrance of what it is to be a co-creator with source consciousness that is limitless. And so this particular key right now, it's like, I want you to get really precise and listen, watch, observe every place your mind wants to minimize you and where you feel inadequate, not enough, alone, unseen, unheard, whatever it is for you, where you don't feel like you're good enough. You might be one of the most intelligent people, a scientist, an engineer. Can you let go of what you know in order to let the wisdom flood you? You're more than that. You're so much more than everything that you know. Because the container of knowing, it's like this dam that is the container of the knowing, has to burst so that the great flood can come. And for the divine to flood into you, you have to let go of every barrier and every boundary of self. Because the vastness of the intelligence of creation, that which you actually are, it's like, I'm hearing the word sublimation. I don't even know what sublimation means exactly, but it's like a sublimation of self into one, right? So just watch right now, wherever there's a thought that arises that is making you feel inadequate, not enough, not smart enough, not wealthy enough. Yeah, you don't have in any way don't have the resources. And in those moments, allow them to be seen. And actually, then from the heart, I want you to begin to see it from the eyes of wisdom, through the eyes of God, through the eyes of the divine. To look upon it as a moment to actually dissolve that thought, that energy stream, and instead open up to the infinite ocean of you. You're resourcing yourself, coming back into union with source, and therefore uniting with the infinite wisdom of the mind of God. And it's an extraordinary, extraordinary journey. And when we look at the gene keys that are transiting all of the energies are supporting our evolution into our gifts and into our genius, because we are coming back into union with the divine. This is the great unraveling. We are unraveling all that has bound us, all that has kept us in the box of our belief system. We're blowing that up so that we can remember our expansive state of divine consciousness. And it is really, literally blowing our mind. Yeah. Thank you for staying to the end if you made it to the end. And I hope this lands. And again, like as with all my videos, can you just close your eyes and let the energies land within you? They are all doing what they need to do to restructure these carbon-based bodies where our spirits, where our higher self has been so deeply buried within the form that we have forgotten who we truly are. And that wound of separation is coming through this, almost like this enlightening of the seed of the golden child within us. We are rebirthing ourselves right now. We are resourcing ourselves through rebirthing ourselves and letting go of that which has up until now served to keep us small and in fear and in the belief of separation. And that is no longer the case. So you have free will to let it in or to resist it. And the words that I keep hearing is just breathe, breathe, and don't resist. If this has touched you, if what I share has touched you, I and a dear sister will be holding an immersion here in Hawaii to deepen in to what it is to connect to Pachamama, Mother Earth, to connect to the elements of the fire, the water, the earth, and the air. We live at the bottom of one of the most active volcanoes in the world, and the fires of transformation and the birthing of new earth is happening right here. The volcano erupts, new earth is born, and we are transformed through her fires every cycle. So we are also surrounded by water. We'll also be journeying into the depths of these caves where they're volcanic caves, and they're called the Yoni caves, because it literally is a portal into the yoni of Mother Earth, and how to commune and be in sacred ceremony with the womb of these islands. And there's so much more to say on that. We'll bring in gene keys, deep restoration, relaxation, and all that you need to fully embody and stabilize your truth in yourself as we weave this great unraveling together. Thank you so much for being here. Every time somebody comments, it's what keeps me going. Spirit has told me I need to empty by sharing, and then I can be filled with more. But I am simply here for people to be able to receive the energies and frequencies that want to move through my vessel. And oftentimes, because of the parts of myself that I'm still working through, I wonder, like, is it actually reaching anybody? So every time a beautiful soul out there leaves a comment and how something has touched them, it's like the catalyst that I feel like the divine has put there to be like, keep going, keep going, keep going. Like you're reaching, even if you reach one person, it ripples out, it ripples out, it ripples out. So I so appreciate your comments. I so appreciate you liking the videos. Yeah, I'm here to support. So I'm sending you so much love and so much blessings. And I love you so much. I feel you. I feel all the people who are ready and resonant to really stabilize and make the massive shifts that we are making. And it gets to be fun, and it gets to be playful, and we get to enjoy this game. It's sacred, and it is a moment of a massive change. And this is why we came. So let the games begin. I love you. I hope to see you or hear from you soon. Sending